the well that was already full, learning gratitude before the gift arrives. The desert had a way of revealing what people truly believed, not what they said they believed, but what lived beneath their breath, beneath their waiting. The nomads of the eastern dunes travelled light, not because they wanted to, but because the land demanded it. Camels carried waterskins rubbed thin from years of use, and tents stitched so many times they barely remembered their original cloth. Every step mattered. Every drop mattered. Asha had been born into this knowing. She knew the sound of sand shifting before a windstorm, the way the horizon bent in the heat, and the quiet language of scarcity that whispered, "Be careful, be cautious, be ready to lose." But there was something about Asha that unsettled the elders. Not rebellion, not disobedience. It was her gratitude. Each morning, before the camels were loaded, before the sun sharpened its edge, Asha knelt beside the smallest water skin and pressed her forehead to the leather. She whispered, "Thank you," not for the water inside, but for the water she believed was coming. Her brother once laughed quietly when he saw her. "There's barely enough for today," he said. "You thank tomorrow before it exists." Asha smiled, the way one smiles when arguing would shrink something sacred. "Tomorrow exists," she said softly. "It just hasn't caught up yet." The elders warned her. Gratitude, they said, was for survival, not imagination. You thank what you have so it does not leave you. You do not thank what you do not have, because that invites disappointment. Asha listened. She always listened, but she did not change. When the drought deepened, it became dangerous to be different. The wells along their route dried one by one, leaving rings of cracked clay like open mouths that could no longer speak. Fear moved through the camp like a second heat, tightening shoulders, shortening tempers, pulling eyes downward. One evening, after a long day of travel with no water found, the chief announced they would turn back. Going forward, he said, was too uncertain. Better to return to what little they knew remained. That night, Asha could not sleep. Not from fear, from clarity. She rose quietly and walked beyond the tents, beyond the firelight, until the desert opened wide and empty before her. She placed her hands on the sand and closed her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered, "for the water that is already mine." Nothing happened. No thunder. No vision, just the wind, moving as it always did. But inside her chest, something loosened. The tightness she had felt growing in the camp did not live in her. She felt full, as if the gratitude itself were nourishment. At dawn, she went to the chief. "There is a well ahead," she said. The chief's face hardened. "Have you seen it?" "No," Asha answered. "Is less than #0. 4# is greater than... Then how do you know?" "Because I am already grateful for it," she said simply. The camp murmured, some in anger, some in fear, some in quiet curiosity. The chief studied her for a long moment. Then he did something unexpected. He nodded. "We will go forward," he said, "but not because I believe in wells that are unseen." He looked directly at Asha. We go because belief that feels full moves differently than fear that feels empty. They travelled for 2 days, then 3. Water skins grew lighter. Voices grew quieter. On the 4th day, doubt began to bite. Even Asha felt it brush against her thoughts like thorns. But each time it did, she returned to gratitude, not as hope, not as wishing, but as certainty. She thanked the water as if it were already cooling her hands. She thanked the well as if its stones already knew her name. Near sunset, when the heat finally softened, a child cried out. Not in fear, in surprise. There, tucked between low rock and shadow, was a well. Old, deep, and full. No one spoke for a long time. Then the camp erupted, not in shouting, but in tears. The chief approached Asha as the first bucket rose, heavy with water. "How did you do this?" he asked quietly. Asha shook her head. "I didn't make the well," she said. "I just met it before my eyes did." That night, as fires burned and laughter returned, the elders watched Asha kneel beside the well. She pressed her forehead to the stone and whispered, "Thank you again." Not because the water was there, but because it always had been